Hey good people, this week we're going to show you what the middle part of a big project looks like with about a half a dozen small jobs. They all just add up. So with the chain plates and forestay done, it's time to get ready to step the mast for the first time. So we need to get this mast base set down. It goes right here. I just found something inside about these holes we got to go look at, and then this is where the actual pivot point goes. And you can see this carbon work was done to repair the top of the dagger trunk to deck connection and the compression post. But this side looks like somebody stopped. It's all been roughed up. It's ready to go. I just drew some paper templates to fill in right there, some hardwood here and here. So we're going to fill in these gaps and do this carbon work right here. And then this is where the pivot point goes. I want to beef this up. Feels like there may be a few extra layers up here, but I think we'll do a nice strong G10 plate right here. Fill in all this gap. You can see there's some core rebated in here, so we'll fill that in with epoxy first. Get this all done and tab it all back together before we step the mast. It's a pretty straightforward project. I can do that today. See if they fit. Okay, that'll work. We'll round these edges over right here. Now we're going to take all of our excess off the edges of the fillets, like this. Okay, that's ready to get the carbon reinforcements put all on top of those fillets. This little piece right here is part of an old mast, carbon fiber mast wall. It'll make a nice sturdy block to hold the mast pivot pin there. And then these cleats are going to be new steps that come in. You can see the little fillets I just put under there. Not even bothering cleaning in here until I finish all this construction dust stuff. Okay, I'm going to let this set just a bit until it's firm and then get the carbon on there. I'm going to take this extra and go spread it in pinholes I found on the top of the boat. Okay, those fillets are a little bit tacky now. So let's put on our fabric. I'll pre-cut all the pieces. They're sitting down here to my right. I can feel this putty getting a little bit warm. That's very good. Oh yeah, the nice rounded bit on those wood pieces is working nicely. Since I'm looking overhead, I put a little bit of Cavicil in the epoxy so you can see it's slightly milky. Get some peel ply on here. Start with this front piece. Carbon connection from the dagger trunk to the deck is now done. I need to go back to the workshop to grab my fiberglass roller. Forgot to bring it out here. So I'll get those little air bubbles out here in a second. And a squeegee. And only you guys are going to know that it is part of an old mast. Time for the next step in our composite padeyes. So you can see we have the G10 disc glued down. That's the exterior base of this thing. There's raw balsa core just below the deck here, so I already took the Q-tip and went around to all 8 holes and got epoxy onto the raw wood. And we've cut these 3/4 inch G10 inserts. Oh, I like it. Nice. I've got 2 spinnaker padeyes to do. The forward padeyes on the float hulls and the 4 hoisting points of the boat. There'll be 4 padeyes so you can have a lifting sling to lift the whole boat up at some of the crane launches. You guys don't get to see the other 7. Same idea. I've been working on the mast this afternoon. This is the jib halyard exit sheave with a new Harken setup here. That screws in nicely. I don't have any Loctite, so I'll get some Loctite and finish that off. And here's the screecher one. But the spinnaker has this older, smaller guy, and whereas those 2 have nice big backing blocks glued in, this one does not. It's just a thin mast wall. And in the parts box was this backer already done, really nicely done with the receiving sex nut already in there. So what I'm going to do this afternoon, I think we'll go ahead and do this upgrade. I'm going to have to widen the hole here a little bit so this guy fits in, create a little trolley system to take this down in the right place, and then pull it into position and squirt glue all underneath here. Ideally, if the trolley works properly, I can glue it first, take it inside, some kind of a grabbing system off the back here. So let's start by marking. You can see the new hole position. I'll get it placed and we'll drill the holes. Do all that with getting this halyard out of the way. Past these rivets. Okay, so there's the new positioning. We reuse that hole, hogged it out a little bit, created a new one, got the rebate. It's fine. Now we have to figure out how to get the great big backing plate glued in here. So we have a game plan. The rigid stick, I'm able to trolley this in. So this will get all of its epoxy putty on it. And this brush will come in and put Cabosil epoxy on the underside, inside the mast, where we need it to be. And we'll put the stick in, Jeannie's going to hold it. I can reach in and lift up with the screw. Push these little blue tapes out of the way. Those are the screw holes. Get the screws in and then unscrew these little keepers and the stick should fall away, and the threaded screws will draw this backer onto the inside of the mast. And we'll let that glue harden up. That should take care of it. Okay, so here we go. We've got a plastic bag. It's like our trolley. Okay, I'm ready to come up.
Yeah, back. Holes are lined up there.
Okay, good. So just hang on to it. Put a little wedge under this side. I should have had that ready to go. We do. It'll work. Come around it. I'm just trying not to get glue down in the hole there. So. Snug them up here. Oh, nice. The glue is starting to spooge around. Yeah, that's what we like. Let's get that tape out of there. Can you pick the tape out? Did you keep a pick? Nice.
It compares.
And let's get these two screws out. Hopefully the wood will just drop down. Aha! See if you can pull the stick out. Oh yeah, it totally worked. Decide how tight I want to make this. I want to squeeze all the glue out. I want a good solid bond. Feels about right. Call this a win. Up here in the cockpit, these holes, combing boxes, they're just empty. Go into the interior of the boat. There's one over there too. So we need to make boxes that'll be mounted in the wall behind that, so that you've got an open cubby here to stuff all the ends of the ropes into. We took some scrap wood and the nail gun and the saw. About 15 minutes. Threw together this box. And this is the inside of what that shape needs to be. That's going to go, that's the top, that's the back, that's the bottom, and the open face will not get any fiberglass on it. So we've used the mold already once to make this one over here. You can see this is what we're looking for, and this is the gluing flange that will go, this will get glued inside that combing wall on the inside of the boat. And then we'll prepare the surface in there, and this will be painted along with the cockpit. So we're going to make a second one right now. The mold got a bunch of coats of paint on it. It was sanded nice and smooth, and then a coating of PVA mold release from Tap Plastics here in the Bay Area. This lets the fiberglass pop right off. That's the idea anyway. Pretty much the opposite of the chain plates you just saw with the carbon fiber and the fancy epoxy. This job will be much less expensive polyester resin and chopped strand mat. Don't need structural integrity here, just making a box to throw rope in. Put some resin on the mold. We're just laughing here in the editing room because during this polyester resin work, which smells terrible, I wear a great big mask. It sounds all muffled here on the audio. And I wasn't really saying anything worth repeating anyway. Okay, time for more glue and new gloves. So that's 2 layers of 12-ounce chopped strand mat and 24 ounces of polyester resin. That's what it looks like, all wet and green. The blue is just my pen marks where I had cut the fabric, bleeding all over the place. It's Sharpie. I'm going to take some peel ply, put on another set of gloves, and mold these corners a little better. Oh, first we have to throw the ball. Okay. This dog is ball nuts. There you go, Ruby. She missed it. Hey, left! There she goes. She'll figure it out. She has a good nose. So I went away for the weekend. It's sitting outside, so it's plenty hard enough now. Let's see if we can get it out of the mold. First thing is I have all this wax. The resin doesn't adhere to the wax. That should pull this off easily. So this wax cove kept the fiberglass from wrapping around the wood mold. That's good. Oh, it's not just going to pop out. It's going to take some work. That's good. Since I already have two, the other one's over here, I can bust this mold apart. I don't care. There's a lot of surface friction. Come on. Yeah, nope. Not yet. I'm going to get a wider screwdriver and create more wedge. Be careful not to split the fiberglass. Well, this one is not coming out well. I mean, it's fine with complete disassembly of mold, but this was not about to pop out. It's not sticking to the wax. It's nice and smooth on the inside. There's just so much surface tension. If you look at all the surface area, there's a lot of bond to break. So, if any pros watching this, tell me what I would do differently next time. Okay, I got this guy into the edge. Ah, there we go. Nice. Alright. One combing block. It's going to go in like that. Right now I'll trim, create a proper gluing flange. Looks like a combing box. Huh? This will go up against the inside of the boat. A little bit of cleanup and we'll be ready to install. Here's another hardware delete here on the float bows. There used to be screwed down eye straps right here to run the nets over there. So we just drilled a hole through the bow and stuck this G10 tube through. Now we're going to trim it, and then we'll put a little carbon patch over the top and then radius out the hole nicely. Nice, we'll put a piece of cloth over this to tie this all together. But the G10 sands nice and smoothly. We've been working on getting the mast raised, so it's standing up on sawhorses here in the yard because we don't have a tower yet. Got the pivot point done, the base is in, and through some really good advice from the farrier forum, we've learned that we need to have the mast and the base locked together. So these are a couple of pieces of old mast wall that have been shaped to create temporary blocking. So every time I raise the mast, we'll be clamping these together. And the other thing is, I just yesterday took the pole and made a socket. I'm gonna wrap that in plastic. Made a socket that's going to go on right here. So I've just sanded away the paint from the mast. You can see the purple is the old color of the mast in the boat. And the socket's going to get glued on right here, right now. I'm going to go ahead and glue this on permanently. I don't mind that we're going to have a little nub sticking out in front of the mast. It'll make raising and lowering so much faster. Ending the day here in the cockpit. We're going to fill in these two holes. I've just cut these old pieces out from some other boat project. That one's going to fit in there. This one's going to fit here. Sand it all paint back. And I've got a new panel cooking on the table. It's foam core with carbon skins to fill this panel in. You can see the hole back there. What we're going to do is make a tube, about 8-inch diameter tube that goes from the inspection port out there to a round one right here. And the tube will be the tunnel that holds the emergency equipment, which you can get out here from the cockpit or from the flipped over boat, if that's what had happened. So tomorrow I need to find a tube of about 8 inches diameter to use as a mold for fiberglassing. I'm thinking about those concrete piling cardboard tubes and then just putting tape over it. We'll see what we can find at the hardware store. And I think that's enough for today. Get this vacuumed up and go take a shower. Next time we'll step the mast for the first time in 23 years. I think everything's ready and I'll turn on the camera for you guys.